we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
The three most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.LRN.FM. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.LRN.FM. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.LRN.FM. Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
The latest edition of the Jason Stapleton program is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.fm. Get more at jasonstapleton.com.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is the Jason Stapleton program, broadcasting once again from Westwood One Studios here in beautiful, sunny Southern California. It was a little hot. I know it's hard for me to even say that. I was out at Catalina Island all weekend. That was lovely. And sitting on the beach, and I'm like, oh, it's a little hot. Maybe I'll go jump in the icy cold water. And ended up, it was a great weekend. For those of you who live somewhere else and it was 1,000 degrees and you had no beach in sight, well, there you go. That's why I live here. But welcome back. If this is the first time you listen to the show, so glad that you are joining me today. I have the legend, Mark Claire, in the studio with me today. You guys know him from the Lions of Liberty podcast. He is my friend, and he just got back from both PorcFest and the LNC, the convention, the Libertarian National Convention, and I wanted an insider's view on exactly what happened there. I think we talked about this on the show a while back, and I just said, I'm going to see if I get...
The Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.fm.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.07 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,254 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $21, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,368. Antiwar.com reports after his North Korea and Japan visit, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made a surprise stop-off in Afghanistan on Monday, offering U.S. support for peace talks between the Ghani government and the Taliban. This and Pompeo's promise that the U.S. was willing to take part is a change in policy. In January, President Trump had ruled out any U.S. involvement in peace talks with the Taliban, saying the U.S. did not want talks and it's going to be a long time before that changed. Pompeo, by contrast, said the talks needed to be Afghan-led and that the U.S. would have an important role, but only to the extent the Afghans took the lead. Ghani has been trying to court talks with the Taliban for a while, including a brief ceasefire. Pompeo went on to insist President Trump's escalation in Afghanistan is working despite the amount of territory held by the government continuing to shrink. He said the U.S. escalation was forcing the Taliban towards negotiation. The Taliban has yet to accept the negotiations. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. UPI reports California's Klamathon fire has destroyed more than 81 structures, prompting evacuations in the affected area on Monday. CAL FIRE said the fire in Siskiyou County, which began Thursday, had burned 35,250 acres and was 30% contained. One person died in the blaze and 3 more have been injured. A total of 2,716 fire personnel and 199 fire engines were dispatched to combat the blaze. The county fire in Napa and Yolo counties increased in size to 90,288 acres on Monday and was about 73% contained. CAL FIRE said firefighters were working to mop up and strengthen control lines as unburned pockets of fuel continue to burn within the interior of the fire. No deaths or injuries have been reported from that blaze, which began June 29th, but it has destroyed 16 structures. The Georges fire in Inyo County was caused by lightning on Sunday afternoon and had grown to 2,000 acres by Monday. CAL FIRE sent 20 fire engines to combat that blaze, but did not specify how much had been contained. Near Los Angeles, the Valley Fire grew in size to 1,348 acres and was about 13% contained, while the 100-acre Box Fire was about 80% contained. Both blazes took place in San Bernardino County. The Creek Fire in San Bernardino National Forest was about 33 acres in size and 94% contained as of Monday. Further north, the Lions Fire had no growth over the weekend, remained at 4,064 acres in size and about 90% containment in the Sierra National Forest. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports President Donald Trump on Monday announced Brett Kavanaugh as his nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, picking a conservative federal appeals court judge who survived a previous tough Senate confirmation battle and helped investigate former President Bill Clinton in the 1990s. In picking the 53-year-old Kavanaugh, Trump aimed to entrench conservative control of the court for years to come with his second lifetime appointment to the nation's highest judicial body in his first 18 months as president. Kavanaugh now faces what appears to be another fierce fight for confirmation in the Senate, where Trump's fellow Republicans hold a slim majority. If confirmed, Kavanaugh would replace long-serving conservative Justice Anthony Kennedy, who announced his retirement on June 27th at the age of 81. Trump told an applauding audience in the East Room of the White House, throughout legal circles, he's considered a judge's judge, a true thought leader among his peers. Kavanaugh has amassed a solidly conservative judicial record since 2006 on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, the same court where 3 current justices, including Chief Justice John Roberts, previously served. Kavanaugh served as a senior White House official under former President George W. Bush before being nominated to the appeals court in 2003. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after members of the New York Police Department found a super sharp Buck brand pocket knife earlier this morning, Lieutenant Joseph Mattioli spoke to Onion reporters at the scene of the discovery to update the public on this potentially deadly blade.
At 8:40 a.m., police discovered what seems to be a pretty badass buck knife. Investigators believe it to be basically the deadliest knife ever.
Mattioli confirmed that the pretty cool wood-handled knife has a clean edge and added that the blade must be, quote, at least like 8 inches long.
At this time, we'd like everyone to be aware that there's probably a man out there with an eye patch and scars all over his face that has access to these knives, or maybe even a samurai sword. We urge people to be careful when approaching him because he may flip out and chop both your arms off before you even realize it.
Following the announcement, Mattioli asked people to come forward if they had any information about the owner of the knife or if they just wanted to hold it for a couple of seconds. For more on this story, check this week's Onion Review.
This is the Onion News Network. The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Computers are online. I'm gonna start loading software.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Call to Freedom.
Broadcasting live from Vertcoin Studios on LRN FM.
You're listening to Will.
You will listen to every damn word I have to say.
And Aria.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Stay tuned for political talk and everything crypto. That's right.
Broadcasting internationally on our BitPlus network satellite.
This is
the Call to Freedom.
All right, let's boot it up.
Yeah, we remembered the music today.
We did. We're getting pretty good at this. We're almost can pass off as professionals. Almost.
Will can stay gone, as far as I'm concerned. I'm just kidding. Welcome to the Call to Freedom on the Liberty Radio Network.
Indeed. Here on
Go
ahead.
Your co-host Tom Gray and Aria DeMezzo filling in for your usual host Will Coley, who is still trapped in the butt crack of humanity down there in Florida, doing Lord knows what, although he is spicy hot today over apparently Linda Sarsour and some of the other what he calls the feminist hijabis reactions to the Supreme Court nomination of Judge Brett Kavanaugh of the D.C. Circuit. He's been nominated by President Trump to the Supreme Court. I have a thought or two on that, but this is Tom Gray, the legal whatever around here, joined, as always, by the queen of crypto herself, Aria DeMezzo, in studio in Keene, New Hampshire. Aria, what's cracking?
Quite a bit, really. Luckily, Kraken isn't actually in the news today, but we've got some mockery of the Sarsour crowd that Will likes to tear into so much. I mean, he's always upset with them. Their bad grammar and their perhaps overzealous over-eagerness to attack the Trump Supreme Court nominee without even knowing who that nominee was. We have good news. Trump pardons the ranchers. I mean, anytime the government pardons anyone, it's good. We have the popular crypto service, My Ether Wallet, which I use quite a bit, being attacked. Paul Manafort being transferred to a different jail while he awaits trial. I figured that was one you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the rationale behind that is. That's it sounded like they're moving him closer, I would assume, for the convenience of the government. They usually don't.
Well, they're not doing it for his convenience.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he is even in there, is the real story of that case. Because, for those of you who might have missed it, we talked about it a little bit on the show. Paul Manafort, who was a pretty high-level advisor to President Trump, has been charged with a long string of things. But the reason that he is in jail is that his bond got revoked because he was tampering with witnesses.
Yeah, I don't really remember who he is. And I don't really care. The whole Trump administration to me is just psychotic craziness.
Nasty people. He was the chairman of Trump's campaign for 6 months during the heat of the campaign season.
Yeah.
And he's under indictment for Lord knows what else. So I'm looking over here to see what Politico says about why he's being moved. You mentioned the Bundy Rancher dudes getting pardoned worth pointing out, they had both been given 5-year sentences. What they did basically was intentionally set fires in a national park, and they did this in.
Well, they did quite a lot more than that.
Yeah, that was the big one though, because
it wasn't running up into the national park with guns drawn and taking over and kicking the federal government out. That was the big one.
I thought the guys that he pardoned were the ones who sparked.
I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I was planning on reading it on the air.
Yeah, these guys were the ones who started it all and who got Ammon Bundy and Cliven Bundy and all those guys riled up in the first place. And I think they were already they were already in jail, actually. The fact that they were sentenced as harshly as they were was why, or one of the reasons that the Bundy Rancher outfit took over the wildlife reserve in Oregon. But these guys, anyway, they were given 5-year sentences. One had served 3 years in prison. One had served 4. They've now been pardoned. Significance of being pardoned instead of being granted clemency, by the way, the felony convictions go away, so they can have guns again.
Well, that's good.
Assuming they don't have other felonies. That sends a pretty clear message to folks in that vein. And
that's good. There's no justification for the government restricting people's Second Amendment rights. There's nothing in the Second Amendment about, as long as you don't do any of these things that the government doesn't want you to do, you can keep weapons. But if you do any of these things in this ever-increasing list, then you can't have weapons.
Yeah, it's one of
those... If you get caught with these substances that the government doesn't want you to have, even though they're not harming anybody, even though you're not harming anybody, no more guns. Yeah, there's a reason that's not in the Second Amendment or any rational person's brain.
So, I think it can go... I have a lot of different thoughts on the Bundy Ranchers case, but the main thing that I would say for purposes of this show is I do wish that everyone who ran afoul of the Popo would get this same sort of treatment, regardless of their color or creed.
Yeah, it's really bizarre that they could do what they did and just get, pardons and relatively light prison sentences versus people who go to prison for 25 years for selling pot.
Yep, it is a politically motivated decision.
Or shot in the back 27 times while they're in their grandmother's front yard.
Can't be pardoned if you're not alive to be tried.
That's so true. In other news, South Sudan troops have murdered 230 civilians. And there is more, allegedly, Brexit chaos. I've been following Brexit for a while because I was a huge advocate of it. And I still am. I just don't like that it's been taken over by the Trump-ish kind of people over in Britain. How could I not be? I'm an American. We were Brexiting before it was cool, We
were Brexiting the other way around. This is Britain leaving somebody else. We're the ones who left them. Yeah. I'm just now getting caught up on the goings-on in South Sudan. I have a very personal interest in the whenever there's unrest in that country because my wife's cousin and her husband and their children are missionaries to South Sudan. So I'll be looking in as the show goes on to make sure that they are safe. They may already be on furlough if things are really bad because they do get pulled out and then put back in depending on the situation there. So we'll talk about court news, police news, the goings on in Africa, and of course crypto news today on the Call to Freedom here on the Liberty Radio Network. Tom Gray, Aria DeMezzo. Join us when we get back.
She musters a smile for his nostalgic tale. Never coming near what you wanted to say, only to realize.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to SaveItPurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. We are broadcasting live from the Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire. I'm your host, Arya DeMesso, joined, of course, via remote by our legal mind, Tom Gray, broadcasting from East Tennessee. I don't think he even hears me. Do you hear me?
Do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure you were whistling and things.
I'm whistling the song.
Okay, fair enough.
I've been able to whistle since I was 2 years old, and it used to be like my favorite thing to show off when I was a kid.
Well, Well, in the first item of news today, this may interest everyone out there to know that the Women's March opposes XX. According to the Washington Times, a pre-written and poorly edited, I'll definitely agree with that, statement from the
You're
Women's
so
March.
auditioning for that job at news.bitcoin.
Well, have you seen it?
You're like,
Statement
watch me
from the
edit
Women's-
this live on the air.
Right. From the Women's March on President Trump's Supreme Court nomination became the subject of mockery on Twitter on Monday night, including from Mr. Trump's former press secretary. The feminist group blasted out a statement shortly after Mr. Trump nominated Judge Brett, how's that last name pronounced, Tom?
Kavanaugh.
Saying that freaking Washington Times needs an editor too. Let me start over from the beginning then. The feminist group blasted out a statement shortly after Mr. Trump nominated George Brett Kavanaugh, saying him confirmation would further erode protections for almost every marginalized group in America. Of course, the Washington Times there doesn't know the difference between his and him. The introduction to the statement read, in response to Donald Trump's nomination of XX to the Supreme Court of the United States, the Women's March releases the following statement. Actually, they said released, another incorrect grammatical mistake. Trump's announcement today is a death sentence for thousands of women in the United States. Judge Brett, oh my God. They spelled his name awfully. Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination threatens to move our nation's highest court dangerously to the right and further erode protections for almost every marginalized group in America. Trump is following through on his most threatening campaign promises, the Muslim ban, period. The crackdown on immigration, period. Now, overturning Roe versus Wade. White patriarchal supremacists and all who enable them now have free rein to advance their oppressive agenda in all three branches of government. And that's where our excerpt ends. That's lame. That's awful. I wanted to read the rest of this.
Well, that's probably all they wrote, because that was as generic as they could get. You know, and I mentioned this before the show when we were talking about it in prep. It's become pretty common for groups like this to write out these generic releases that just assail in absolute most general terms something the other side has done in anticipation.
I agree it's common, but it's still
stupid.
worthy of mockery.
It's still pretty stupid. And it really, when it comes
I mean, you
to
shouldn't have your mind so fixed on what you're going to say that you can't even hear what the other person says. And that's what this is. I mean, if you're having a conversation with someone and you've already pre-written your response to what they're about to say, then you're not listening when they do speak. You're waiting on your turn to spit back. And nothing they say is going to reach you. Nothing they say is going to have any impact on you because you're just waiting your turn.
So, and here's the this is what the Supreme Court nomination process has become, and it's shameful for my profession, honestly. But at the same time,
everything related to the government is shameful.
Well, I try not to be. Technically, I'm semi-related to the government because I practice law, and without government, there's not much for me to do. But
no comment.
my real problem with this is the treatment of the Supreme Court like it has powers that it doesn't. And especially when it comes to campaign issues and fundraising issues for the Democrats.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but at least in regard to Roe versus Wade, they can't just arbitrarily pick random court cases out of their past, can they? Someone has to bring it to them again in a different context.
Exactly. Under Article 3, courts of the United States are only permitted to hear cases and controversies. Now, that doesn't sound like a particularly difficult concept, but what that means is the Supreme Court, and no court can just issue an advisory opinion. I or we, the court, think X is legal or illegal or constitutional or unconstitutional. Furthermore, when a case comes before a court, before they ever reach the issue of whether something is constitutional or unconstitutional, they have to resolve anything else that might help them avoid making that call. And then, before they even reach the issue of whether a case is good law or not, they have to resolve the issue of whether there is any other reason why a government action might stand. When it comes to Roe versus Wade in particular, the types of cases that might end up before the Supreme Court are I mean, as of right now, there are no currently in force bans on abortion straight up in any of the several states. There's nothing to be challenged there. What you would have would be restrictions like restrictions on licensure, restrictions on hospital admitting privileges are the ones that a lot of states use. Basically, if you're going to perform an abortion, you have to have admitting privileges to a hospital. Stuff like you can't abort a baby after 20 weeks. Things like this. And before the court would ever even reach the issue of whether Roe versus Wade is still good law, which, by the way, it's already not. Roe versus Wade has already been partially overturned in at least two other leading cases. Planned Parenthood versus Casey and Doe. I can't remember who the other litigant was in Doe. But before they ever reach the issue of, well, are we going to leave this case in place, they'd have to first say, does this restriction even violate the right outlined in this case? It would take a very targeted case, and it would take years before it ever got to the court, and it would most likely, I mean, if the Democrats are able to unseat Trump in 2020, there's a pretty good chance that the court would not even have the same justices on it before such a case got to the Supreme Court. So what they're really doing is taking a judge who hasn't even had a hearing yet and using him to fundraise based on views he may or may not have and decisions he may or may not join in or make. And it's all just straight up cynical politicking, but that's really where we are with the courts today, and it's really unfortunate.
But when we get back, we'll discuss Brett Kavanaugh a little bit more, and Scott Limo's opinion that it is the result of years of unopposed conservative organizing. And we'll get to why he thinks that when we get back.
If you're David, a few well-chosen words can help level the playing field with Goliath. I'm Holland Cook from survivalspeech.com. Recently, I saw a Yellow Pages ad for an appliance repair company, and the headline read, "Why wait for Sears?" If you're going to the Yellow Pages, the Dead Sea Scrolls of advertising, you're ready to buy right now. So this is an attention-grabbing message. And how about the plumber whose radio ad says, "Call by noon Thursday, and we'll be there Saturday at no extra cost"? Smart guy. Most plumbing firms give their crew the weekend off. This one gives them Sunday and Monday off. In the words of a respected advertising executive, cut to the chase, make it quick, and tell me exactly what you can do for me, especially if you're looking for work. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Join Daryl W. Perry on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio as he brings you news, views, and opinions while promoting the ideas of peaceful interaction.
My personal position on the death penalty is this. We know for a fact that there have been hundreds of people who have been wrongly convicted for various offenses. People who were wrongly convicted of murder and who were sentenced to death, who have later been exonerated. And from that, we can deduce that there have been innocent people who were executed for crimes they did not commit. And the fact that I do consider myself to be consistently pro-life, I don't support using taxpayer funds to kill any human at all, anywhere. Using any money that is taken by force and then used to murder people is wrong.
Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.fm. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.fm पे।
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we're discussing the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh and the belief, according to Scott Limo, that it signifies the result of years of unopposed conservative organization. He writes at NBC News that President Donald Trump's announcement that he will nominate Brett Kavanaugh to replace retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy on the Supreme Court will not only have a major impact on American law, it also demonstrates the binding power of the conservative legal movement that has pushed the federal courts to the right for decades, while also drawing Trump ever closer to the Republican Party over the last 2 years. Tom, you're the resident conservative former Republican. What do you think about the allegation that the Supreme Court or the federal courts have been moving to the right for decades?
Well, for many decades before that, they were pretty far to the left. And when I say the left, I don't just mean the generalized political left. For quite a while, we had a Supreme Court that was willing to step outside those ordinary bounds of here's a case before us, and here's what we have to decide to resolve this case in order to get certain things done. Now, the things that they got done, for the most part, were actually
is he right or wrong?
He's right.
Because I was under the impression that the federal courts had been moving to the left.
He's right that they've moved back toward what we would call the right in terms of conservative application of the law. Now, we're not talking about the current political right, because that's a whole other thing. But in turn, you don't see any more, for instance, opinions like Brown versus Board of Education. where the Supreme Court just kind of says, you know what the states are doing is really crappy, and we don't want you to do it anymore, and we're going to rely on stuff that's outside the normal court record to tell you to stop doing it. You don't see as many cases where the court finds, quote unquote, a new, quote unquote, constitutional right, quote unquote. And on the same token, you don't see as many cases where the courts are saying no to the government, period. And that is, when you talk about a rightward shift, you're not just talking about Republican appointees. Elena Kagan is one of the furthest right Democratic nominees in quite some time. And she came from a position where she was defending in court everything the government did, and she's mostly been a mega statist on the court. Stephen Breyer is the same way. He's been there for a while, but he's a mega statist who was a Democratic appointee.
Well, according to this article, Trump has generally been impulsive on policy and independent from the Republican leadership on a variety of issues, from sanctions on Russia to trade policy. But on judges, he has been the ultimate party man, effectively delegating his choice to conservative legal activists. His willing acquiescence to their wishes on what could arguably be one of the few lasting achievements of his presidency reflects how important control of the courts is to both Republican public officials and voters. Polls have shown that power over the Supreme Court nominees was critical to getting Republicans who had misgivings about Trump's fitness for office to the polls. He issued 2 lists of conservative judges pleasing to activists over the course of the 2016 campaign. And they've also been an important reason for Republican members of Congress to refuse to provide meaningful oversight on an unprecedentedly corrupt president. Trump's selection of orthodox conservatives to the courts reflects his understanding of this dynamic. The insistence on conservative legal orthodoxy from Republican nominees increased considerably after George H.W. Bush nominated David Souter, who turned out to be a reliable liberal vote, to the Supreme Court in 1990. Since his rulings veered from what conservatives thought they'd be getting, despite the deliberately uncommitted nature of judicial nominees to specific rulings in advance, groups like the Federalist Society and the Heritage Foundation dedicated a great deal of energy to ensuring that there would be no more Souters on the court. I'm not familiar with either of those groups.
It was the Federal Society, and who else?
The Heritage Foundation. Neither one of them sounds like anything I would want to have anything to do with. I mean, they sound like conservative, Bible-thumping, this is white men's, Christians' paradise kind of people.
Oh, you'd mostly like the Federalist Society. They're
well, if they're actually Federalists,
they're actually close. Yeah, they're what would we say? Well, when they say the Federalist Society, they're not named after federalism so much as the Federalist Papers. They're John Jay type of conservatives, mostly committed to strict textualism in judicial nominees, deference to legislatures, anti-judicial activism, things like that. The Heritage Foundation is pretty much a right-wing think tank, more associated with the religious right than anything else. But again, when you talk about left and right in judicial politics,
we're talking conservatism and liberalism.
Yeah, when you talk about conservatism and liberalism in judicial politics, it doesn't look anything like it does in the rest of the sector. Well,
that says the attorney, but to everyone else, yes, it does.
Yeah, and when they say that, they're thinking in terms of outcomes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you look at Supreme Court decisions, the judicial leanings of some of these candidates or some of the justices don't dictate the way the decisions would come out, the way that some of these activists who aren't lawyers would think they would. For instance,
I mean, it's not hard to understand why. If you have a truly conservative, in the classical sense of the word, Supreme Court justice who is personally against abortion but recognizes the value of the 10th Amendment, obviously he's not going to support a federal ban on abortion because it's in violation of the 10th Amendment, even if he personally would like to see it happen.
Right, exactly.
I mean, there's a lot of disconnect there. I don't think the modern left is capable of understanding that, though, because so much of what they do is from the gut. It's from emotion.
Right. And Antonin Scalia, who was my favorite Supreme Court justice, is the ultimate example of that. Because people on the left generally assume that he was some, big government statist because he wasn't in favor of finding rights in the Constitution that just aren't there. We've talked about on this show plenty of times, the Constitution is not a particularly libertarian document. So if you're looking to it for your source of civil liberties, you're mostly going to be disappointed. However, Scalia was a driving force behind...
may or may not be recognized in the Constitution, but they're certainly not granted by the Constitution.
Exactly. But there are some rights that are granted by the Constitution, and one of those is the right to confront witnesses. And a case that was a big sea change against prosecutors in 2004 that Scalia actually wrote the opinion on. It was one of the... Usually when you get an opinion out of the Supreme Court that Antonin Scalia and Ruth Bader Ginsburg both join in, it's good for liberty. The case was Crawford versus Washington, and in that case, Scalia found that because of the confrontation clause of the Sixth Amendment, basically the government couldn't introduce scientific evidence against you without letting you actually cross-examine the scientist who wrote the report. It was a huge shift in the way people were prosecuted using scientific evidence. So when you hear all of this boo-hooing about, this nominee is going to do X, not necessarily. You need to understand what they actually believe and what they actually stand for. And I want to get to one specific thing Brett Kavanaugh stands for when we get back here on the Call to Freedom.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey.
Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
What am I being detained for? You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, broadcasting live from the Zencash studio here in beautiful Keene, New Hampshire, joined remotely by Tom Gray, our legal mind from the mountains of East Tennessee. And we are discussing the Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh. And Tom said, you said that you had a particular position of his that you wanted to discuss?
Yeah, so obviously the big fundraising point for the left coming off of this nomination, even like as soon as Kennedy announced he was stepping down, that he was going to be retiring, the left has been all about just constantly hammering Roe versus Wade. And saying, you know, this nominee is going to take away abortion, so we have to give money to Democrats and elect Democrats. The thing is, Brett Kavanaugh. The thing is, Brett Kavanaugh has already been through one judicial confirmation in 2006 when he was nominated to the D.C. Court of Appeals by President George W. Bush. He was asked directly during his nomination whether he would enforce Roe versus Wade. And he said, in no uncertain terms, Roe versus Wade is the law of the land. It's been affirmed several times, and I will enforce it as a judge. Well, boom.
Did he mean upheld?
Well, as a judge on the... Yeah, it's been upheld. I mentioned earlier it's been overturned in part, but it has been... The central ruling's been upheld. Parts that have been overturned are things like the trimester test, things about the original decision that were effectively changed by changes in medical science. But the central holding that the Constitution protects a right to an abortion has been upheld numerous times. Whether you agree with it or not, that's what we call stare decisis. It's an issue that's already been decided. It is extraordinarily rare.
Don't tell Carlos.
It's extraordinarily rare for the court to overturn an existing precedent, even one that is largely considered to be not a particularly well-considered or good one. In fact, I mentioned earlier Brown versus Board of Education. That is widely considered to be one of the worst written opinions in the history of the Supreme Court because of the way that they went about the legal logic. But even acknowledging that openly, no Supreme Court has ever even come close to overturning its central holding. You have occasionally cases that get overturned because statutes change, or because there's a different record before the court. But for a constitutional precedent that establishes a right to change would be unprecedented. It just hasn't happened. Now, that's not to say that they won't find that more restrictions on abortion are permissible in that they don't violate Roe. That's entirely possible, but the idea that Roe versus Wade is going away, the idea that the constitutional protections for abortion would just disappear overnight, it's not going to happen. It's malarkey.
Well, I mean, yeah, but Democrats told us similar things before Trump even won the, White House. I mean,
exactly.
We were told that there were going to be death camps for gay people and trans people and disabled people, and that, you were going to walk the street, see men running down the street, grabbing women by their vaginas, and just painted this horrific dystopian nightmare picture, none of which had any basis in reality whatsoever. I mean, it was terrorism, plain and simple.
So far, it's only been camps for brown kids.
Yeah, but those predate Trump as well. And it looks like Trump, I don't know, Trump kind of deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, I think. Because...
Oh, for Pete's sake, Aria.
No,
don't
listen,
do this to me.
Let me
don't
finish.
do this to me on the air.
Let me finish. Because he doing the things that have been going on for such a long period of time got media attention that got these things ended. I mean, sure, we were doing them under Bush and Obama and no one cared, but oh no, now Trump is doing them and he's saying mean things while doing them, so we have to stop doing these things. And that would not have happened if Hillary had won. We would still be separating families at the border, and we would still be putting brown children in cages. Yeah, but they're trying to undo it now, allegedly. And the government is so inefficient that it's never going to be able to undo it. But the point is that it's decreased. It's an issue now. People are talking about it now. People are trying to do something about it now. And that was not the case 3 years ago. It was not the case 11 years ago. No one cared. So I think just for being a gigantic jerk who says mean things while doing the things that every other president has done, Trump deserves some recognition for being just such a reprehensible person that saying the horrible things that he's saying while doing the horrible things that he and every other president has done is causing these things to be stopped.
That's a really roundabout way to go about that. I mean, that's basically
I'm not saying he's doing it on purpose. I'm not saying he's playing 4D chess or any of that crap. I'm saying he's a dick. And the result is that people don't like... talk for a moment, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, but we don't give out peace prizes for people accidentally causing good things to happen, that we shouldn't give out peace prizes anywhere near as often as we do, period. But anyway, when it comes to this nomination, the other thing that I wanted to make sure that I mentioned on air today is that it's about as milquetoasty a nomination as you could get. I was hoping that Trump would nominate Amy Barrett.
Tom, we got a caller who would like to add a couple of comments.
Okay. I can hold my comments on it, Amy Barrett, for later. So let's go to the call. Who we got on the line? Oh, do we hang up on them?
Hey, are you there?
Yeah, I just got hung up on.
No, you didn't. You're here.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So you had some comments you wanted to make about the Supreme Court justice?
Yes.
So what's on your mind?
There's some things that is very non-libertarian about Judge Kavanaugh. He, first of all, he's fine with mega data collection.
Yes, true.
He's not real strong on the Second Amendment.
Well, I didn't have any hope that Trump was going to nominate a libertarian to the Supreme Court.
Right. Well, I mean, I wouldn't think so either. But basically the Supreme Court is there to make sure that the government don't step on the Constitution. And that's not what's happening.
No, not at all. I mean, the entire idea of the Supreme Court being the people who does that is fundamentally broken. I mean, it's a part of the state, so we basically gave the state the power to determine what the state can and cannot do.
Yeah, unfortunately, caller, it's. By the way, we forgot to ask you your name.
No, I did, but I didn't.
My name's Dave, and I'm calling from Virginia.
Okay, Dave
welcome.
in Virginia.
Thanks for calling, Dave.
The court's role in policing government action has always been vastly overstated, because before the court can ever even get involved in redressing constitutional violations, there has to be a violation. And then you've got to have a litigant who has the means to get it all the way up to the Supreme Court. Really, the first hedge against constitutional violations should always be the people through the ballot box, followed then by the legislature, who should be able to rein in the executive. That's where we've lost the war for civil liberties. The Supreme Court is really just, I mean, if you're putting your hopes on the Supreme Court the way that Democrats do, then you have lost the battle so drastically that you have no hope of crawling your way back. And that's the issue that I have with the way Democrats are selling this nomination like it's even relevant. Go ahead. You got about 30 seconds.
Yeah, that's the problem, is the Democrats want the court to legislate, and in some ways that's happening, but it's not good. So.
No, it's definitely not. It's a total breakdown of the separation of powers. But we'll be back shortly with the Crypto Hour, discussing recent attacks, recent stuff in South Korea, and all kinds of other developments in the crypto world. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keenan, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.07 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,254 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $21, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,368. Antiwar.com reports after his North Korea and Japan visit, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made a surprise stop-off in Afghanistan on Monday, offering U.S. support for peace talks between the Ghani government and the Taliban. This and Pompeo's promise that the U.S. was willing to take part is a change in policy. In January, President Trump had ruled out any U.S. involvement in peace talks with the Taliban, saying the U.S. did not want talks and it's going to be a long time before that changed. Pompeo, by contrast, said the talks needed to be Afghan-led and that the U.S. would have an important role, but only to the extent the Afghans took the lead. Ghani has been trying to court talks with the Taliban for a while, including a brief ceasefire. Pompeo went on to insist President Trump's escalation in Afghanistan is working despite the amount of territory held by the government continuing to shrink. He said the U.S. escalation was forcing the Taliban towards negotiation. The Taliban has yet to accept the negotiations. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. UPI reports California's Klamathon fire has destroyed more than 81 structures, prompting evacuations in the affected area on Monday. CAL FIRE said the fire in Siskiyou County, which began Thursday, had burned 35,250 acres and was 30% contained. One person died in the blaze and 3 more have been injured. A total of 2,716 fire personnel and 199 fire engines were dispatched to combat the blaze. The county fire in Napa and Yolo counties increased in size to 90,288 acres on Monday and was about 73% contained. CAL FIRE said firefighters were working to mop up and strengthen control lines as unburned pockets of fuel continue to burn within the interior of the fire. No deaths or injuries have been reported from that blaze, which began June 29th, but it has destroyed 16 structures. The Georges fire in Inyo County was caused by lightning on Sunday afternoon and had grown to 2,000 acres by Monday. CAL FIRE sent 20 fire engines to combat that blaze, but did not specify how much had been contained. Near Los Angeles, the Valley Fire grew in size to 1,348 acres and was about 13% contained, while the 100-acre Box Fire was about 80% contained. Both blazes took place in San Bernardino County. The Creek Fire in San Bernardino National Forest was about 33 acres in size and 94% contained as of Monday. Further north, the Lions Fire had no growth over the weekend, remained at 4,064 acres in size and about 90% containment in the Sierra National Forest. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports President Donald Trump on Monday announced Brett Kavanaugh as his nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, picking a conservative federal appeals court judge who survived a previous tough Senate confirmation battle and helped investigate former President Bill Clinton in the 1990s. In picking the 53-year-old Kavanaugh, Trump aimed to entrench conservative control of the court for years to come with his second lifetime appointment to the nation's highest judicial body in his first 18 months as president. Kavanaugh now faces what appears to be another fierce fight for confirmation in the Senate, where Trump's fellow Republicans hold a slim majority. If confirmed, Kavanaugh would replace long-serving conservative Justice Anthony Kennedy, who announced his retirement on June 27th at the age of 81. Trump told an applauding audience in the East Room of the White House, "Throughout legal circles, he's considered a judge's judge, a true thought leader among his peers." Kavanaugh has amassed a solidly conservative judicial record since 2006 on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, the same court where 3 current justices, including Chief Justice John Roberts, previously served. Kavanaugh served as a senior White House official under former President George W. Bush before being nominated to the appeals court in 2003. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The victims of a devastating tornado expressed gratitude that The Onion's 3-part series on the disaster was reported with fairness, accuracy, and an unusual degree of sensitivity. Survivors said they were at least thankful for one thing, that The Onion put much more care and insight into their reporting of the tragedy than any competing newspaper, by far. In economic news, a Pulitzer Prize would very much help certain newspapers increase their circulation, resulting in greater ad sales and more revenue to pay their tireless, hardworking reporters, all of whom have families at home to care for. In other headlines, a group known as Americans for Fairness in Awarding Journalism Prizes is asking all Americans to help The Onion receive a Pulitzer Prize. An anonymous man says he will murder 50 innocent people if The Onion is not awarded a Pulitzer. And look at it, it's beautiful. Look, just give us a Pulitzer already, okay? This is humiliating. For more prize-worthy stories and videos, go to theonion.com/review.
This is the Onion News Network.
The Call to Freedom is an opinion show. It's meant for informational purposes only. It is not licensed financial advice. It is very important to do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you hear from the Call of Freedom and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. I mean, come on, guys. Duh. It's a cryptocurrency investment and a political talk radio. Of course, it's opinions.
Hold. Hold. Hold.
You better hold on for dear life, because it's time for the Crypto Hour, brought to you by Helium.com. On the Call to Freedom.
That's right. Welcome to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. This is the Crypto Hour brought to you by MotionProject.org. Motion Project is sort of the GoFundMe of cryptocurrencies. It is designed to facilitate the creation, the spread, and the promotion of charitable and of essentially charitable giving, charitable acts, and things of that nature. Helping moving the world forward, setting projects in motion, as it were. So check them out at motionproject.org. Additionally, we have 10 free Motion coins that we are giving away. All you have to do is give us a call at 603-357-9265. Install the wallet and get your 10 free Motion coins. There's no catch, no trick. Just give us a call and install the wallet and get your free Motion coins. They can be traded for whatever other currency you'd like. At CryptoBridge, if you'd rather have Bitcoin Cash or Litecoin or Ethereum or whatever. In the crypto news today, we have an intersection of two of my favorite things. The Pirate Bay is again mining Monero using users' CPUs. The Pirate Bay, brought to us by news.bitcoin.com, the major torrent downloading website, has begun notifying its visitors that their systems are being used to mine Monero. The message at the bottom of the site now reads, by entering the Pirate Bay, you agree to XMR being mined using your CPU. If you don't agree, please leave now, or install an ad blocker.
It can be turned off by an ad blocker?
Or NoScript, or Ghostery, or thousands of utilities that people should be using before they browse to the freaking Pirate Bay.
Exactly. I was about to say, if you are browsing on the Pirate Bay and you are not already using an ad blocker, you have something terribly wrong with you.
Last year, the discovery of cryptocurrency mining scripts on websites generated an uproar. See, that's where they need that editor. Generated an uproar from many of the Pirate Bay's users. The company admitted it has done so after it was exposed, and went on to claim that it was only a short experiment. As you may have noticed, we are testing a Monero JavaScript miner. This is only a test. We want to get rid of all the ads, but we also need enough money to keep the site running. Now it appears that the experiment has succeeded, and the Pirate Bay determined it is worth the negative reactions if it will receive a result of oh my God. It's getting harder and harder to just use this site. Now it appears that the experiment has succeeded, and the Pirate Bay determined it is worth the negative reactions it will receive as a result of making this controversial means to generate funds a permanent feature of its operation. The idea of using visitors' computer power to mine for crypto and thus fund the websites they use has been one of a number of innovations in the field made possible by cryptocurrency technology. With many people using ad blockers, as well as Google and Facebook monopolizing most of the profits from online media advertising, some websites have turned to mining as an alternative to ads and revenue and payment walls. It can be seen as a legitimate business model if done so transparently, where users are allowed to consent to it. The practice can also be misused when it is done in secret by the websites themselves or when mining code is injected by hackers as a form of cryptojacking. And I don't think it's fair to reference both of those things in regard to the Pirate Bay here. Yeah, sure, they were kind of shady in testing it in the first place, but the Pirate Bay has never really been overrun with ads or anything like that, and it's an expensive site for them to maintain. They're notoriously the targets of law enforcement. You know, if you've got to deal with your CPU usage being at 100% for the 3 or 4 minutes that you spend browsing the Pirate Bay, I really think that's about the least that people could do to give back. and obviously the Pirate Bay should have, informed users about it as they're doing now. But the negative reaction to it, until people are able to pay for the Pirate Bay accounts, is totally overbearing or totally uncalled for. Nobody minds using the free service. Nobody minds letting the Pirate Bay be targeted by the HCAA and the MCAA.
I guess my issue might be with vulnerabilities, like known vulnerabilities that take advantage of the CPU itself. I mean, in a world before the Heartbleed vulnerability, just lending your CPU power to a website like this would be about as innocuous as you're describing. But when you're talking about a site that's already kind of home to some, illicit activities, I know some might disagree, but that's what us normies out there would call them.
It is kind of hard to find something on the Pirate Bay that is genuinely unsafe. And any user with the knowledge of how to install a torrent downloader and how to set one up and forward ports and all that, for God's sake, they better be able to tell the difference between an album, a full-length album, and a song that is 370 megabytes long, wide, big, whatever. You know what I mean?
Well, you
would hope.
But what I'm getting at is, it's oh, hello, someone let my dog back in the house. What I'm getting at is what you're saying about, well, this is a fair way to pay for the site and the service. I would agree with, if not for the fact that lending your CPU power like this, or lending access to the CPU itself to a site like this, could put you at a risk that didn't previously exist before the Heartbleed vulnerability and before direct CPU hacking became a thing.
Well, you're not lending the CPU directly as much as you are lending your browser, and your browser is using the CPU through JavaScript. So, I mean, if the browser itself has the vulnerability, then you shouldn't be using
Java.
that browser to be on the internet anyway.
Well, JavaScript itself, vulnerable as all get out. So there's another...
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that every application... Well, yeah, everything is vulnerable. But that doesn't mean that every application programmed in JavaScript is going to really carry all of the flaws that JavaScript as a whole has.
Sure. I mean, but what it comes down to, exactly as we said a moment ago, if you're surfing on a site like the Pirate Bay, you should be prepared for these sorts of threats in the first place.
Yeah. But it's amazing how many people aren't. I mean,
it really is.
That's what I do, for a living, and people are stupid when it comes to computers. Full stop. People are stupid.
And don't want to be unstupefied.
No, they don't. They think that
actively resist it.
They think they can install McAfee or Norton and they'll be good to go. That's it. They never have to worry about anything else. I cannot tell you how many times in my life I've answered that question. How did I get a virus? I have McAfee. Or I have Norton. How did I get a virus? Well, it may have been when you click to install that plugin from porn.xxx. Just maybe. Or it may have been when you went to YouTube, but you typed it in wrong, so you ended up with a site that wanted you to go here and download this plugin for this other thing, and next thing you know, you've got 70,000 different things installed to your computer. You have no idea what any of them are, or what they do, or how they got there, and you're giving me a call, and I'm going to charge you $150 to undo it. And even then, nobody can protect you because you're going to click that stupid crap again, and then you're going to call me again a month later and say your computer still isn't clean. Because the problem exists between the keyboard and chair, and as long as the problem is there, nobody can protect you.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom.
Live
on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
That's right. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are broadcasting live from the Zencastr studio. It is the Crypto Hour, brought to you by motionproject.org. And we were discussing the Pirate Bay, but we'd like to now move on to something else, which is the decentralized exchanges that we've talked about so frequently on this show, and that some of them have been hacked. Some have lost coins, and it's generally just not good all around. Two Irish entrepreneurs are behind a project to set up a decentralized crypto exchange in Europe. Joe Haslam and Conor O'Connor plan to launch local token exchange in August, according to the Irish Independent. The platform aims to enable trading in over 100 cryptocurrencies by the end of the year. It has already gathered a team of 9 employees and 6 advisors. O'Connor notes that most crypto transactions currently take place on centralized exchanges, while there are very few decentralized trading platforms operating at the moment. Our approach is peer-to-peer, and it democratizes the process. Our transactions take place using smart contracts and escrow, the co-founder explains. A lot of buzzwords in that. It democratizes the process. Smart contracts, escrow, peer-to-peer. His partner, who lectures in entrepreneurship at the IE Business School in Madrid, says, when my students look at what's happening in Venezuela, or the fact that the Turkish lira lost 20% of its value against the dollar this year, I lose their interest very quickly, talking about the traditional worlds of finance and accounting, when crypto allows a 21-year-old to raise $25 million in 15 minutes, as Reuters reported last year. I would have liked to
Results may vary.
Yeah, I would have liked to link to that story. While the Irish team is still raising funds to complete their project, another crypto exchange, that's how you raise millions of dollars in 15 minutes, is you come up with some half-baked project and you promote the crap out of it and you ask people to send you Ethereum to pay for it. I don't know at what point cryptocurrencies decided that they could not participate, they could not create a project without the financial backing going in, and that first they had to come up with an idea and then get the funding. I didn't put that very well. And then crowdsource the funding. I don't know when crowdsourcing cryptocurrency technology funding became the only way of doing it. While the Irish team is still raising the funds to complete their project, another crypto exchange branded as decentralized proves that maintaining an operating platform of this kind comes with challenges. On Monday, Bancor reported it had experienced a security breach. In a tweet, the company assured its customers that no user wallets were compromised and informed that the platform is currently under maintenance. Updating users on the situation, the exchange later said the details of the breach are still being investigated, but released some of the findings. According to the tweeted statement, a wallet used to upgrade some smart contracts has been compromised and used to withdraw Ethereum from the BNT smart contract. The stolen amount, 29,984 Ethereum, is worth approximately $12.5 million. The post details that the same wallet also stole $229,356,645 NPXS, about $1 million, and
about one. Wait a minute. I thought you were giving us the dollar figure before you gave us the coin figure, but you were giving us the coin figure first, and it turned out the dollar figure is a little smaller.
Well, an ICO that raised $225 million would have gotten a lot of media attention.
I'd hope so.
And 3,200,000 BNT, worth about $10 million. So they got robbed for What is that total? About $23 million?
Wow.
Wow. Bancorp claims that once the theft was identified, we were able to freeze the stolen BNT, explaining that the ability to do so was built into the Bancorp protocol to be used in an extreme situation. Yes, kill switches that decentralized exchanges are really fond of having, even though they shouldn't, because they want to be decentralized. AirSwap has one as well. However, the exchange notes that it's not possible to freeze the Ether or any other stolen coins. Chinese hackers mine over $2 million in 2 years. Police in the Chinese Dalian city have arrested 20 suspects, employees of a computer tech company, who allegedly infected over 1 million computers with mining malware. According to the local news outlet Legal Daily, they reportedly mined more than 2.2 million USD worth of digital coins over a period of 2 years. The publication details that the hackers developed and embedded the malware in plugins promising faster browsing speeds and other improvements. It has been estimated that the ads have reached 5 million computers in the People's Republic. The hackers also employed a network of more than 100 agents to spread their malicious software. Full disclosure, I have considered doing something like this. You know, with my past clients, I never would, but the idea has occurred to me, I would say, to install a browser plugin that's going to protect their computer from viruses, when actually it sits in the background mining Monero and sending it to me.
I assume there were air quotes in there that I can't see because I don't watch the Twitch feed.
Correct. Yeah.
Ha.
And again, I never would, but some people would. And clearly it wasn't an awful idea. I mean it is not that they're in prison in China. According to the Chinese investigators, more than 1 million users have installed the plugin so far. The hackers have mined a total of 26 million units of Digibyte, Decred, and Sia coin worth around 15 million yuan. $20 billion worth of cryptocurrency has also been lost. According to Bitcoin.com. According to research conducted by New York-based company Chainalysis. Well, we'll get back at more interesting things than that. Apparently $20 million in crypto has been lost, primarily from sending Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash addresses and vice versa, which is no surprise to anyone familiar with the coins or Bitcoin.com's general shenanigans in regard to Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. When we get back, we'll talk about my Ether wallet and it being hit with another attack, this time after Hola VPN gets hacked.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
The new Netflix Gas lets users instantly inhale multiple seasons of TV shows. An area man is worried the nation's healthcare debate might be getting political, and a bullied 8th grader incorrectly thought classmates would leave him alone during a field trip to the 9/11 memorial. Don't mistake my kind, gentle tone for one of love or support. This is the Onion Week in Review. According to a report released this Tuesday, no one, absolutely no one, will ever stack up to your 8th grade boyfriend, Brian Bowden, who you dated for 6 weeks in middle school. A 43-page study from Stanford University confirmed that no other guy in your life will ever be as kind or caring as the 13-year-old who held your hand during the scary parts of Jurassic Park, who had that really cool chain wallet, and who bought you 2 pink carnations on Valentine's Day. The report added that while your current boyfriend does have a lot going for him, he will certainly never cut class with you to listen to the dead Kennedy's Frankenchrist on a Sony Discman. Brian used to do that with you. He used to do it all the time.
This is the Onion News Network.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are the only drive home broadcast featuring an hour devoted to cryptocurrency. And speaking of cryptocurrency, this is the Crypto Hour brought to you by motionproject.org, and we are giving away 10 free Motion coins. Just give us a call at 603-357-9265 to claim them. All you have to do is install a wallet to your computer. It takes 2 minutes. And then we will send you your free Motion coins, and that's it. You can trade them at CryptoBridge or a couple of other different websites if you'd rather have Bitcoin Cash or Bitcoin or Ethereum, Litecoin, whatever. No catch, no trick, no anything, just free money. We like giving away free money.
You don't even have to get the name of the show right when we ask you for it.
I don't. And we've heard it all. I think the most common one is LRN.FM.
Which is technically true. That's the channel that we're on. But this is...
It's not the name of the show.
It's the Call to Freedom, people.
Well, in other crypto news, popular crypto service MyEther Wallet has been hit by an attack after Hola VPN gets hacked. My Ether wallet, brought to us by TechCrunch.com, one of the internet's most popular services for managing cryptocurrencies, suffered a serious security issue for the second time this year after a widely used VPN service was compromised for 5 hours. My Ether wallet is used to access crypto wallets and send and receive tokens to and from other wallets. Today, it warned that users of its service who utilize the Hola, a free VPN which plugs into browsers and claims nearly 50 million users, may have been caught up in a malicious attack to steal crypto. Look, don't install free VPNs that are plugins to your browser. Invest the $7.99 a month to buy an actual VPN service that actually routes all of your internet traffic through the VPN service. Regular users, oh my God, they need an editor too, of My Ether wallet were not impacted by the breach because the Mew service itself wasn't compromised. The company said that Hola was compromised for a period of 5 hours, during which time any Hola users who navigated to Mew and accessed their wallet with the VPN switched on may have been affected. Mew is recommending anyone who used the site and VPN in the last 24 hours to transfer their tokens to a new wallet, assuming that they still have access to them.
Or money in them.
Speaking of, the incident is a good reminder of why it is better to pay for a VPN service rather than using a free one. Back in 2015, Hola was accused of performing DDoS attacks on demand surreptitiously for paying clients using the computing power of its users, so the writing has been on the wall. Mew pointed TechCrunch to statements on Twitter when asked for comment on the incident. The company said the attack appeared to be a Russian-based IP address.
Figures.
The safety and security of new users is our priority. We'd like to remind our users that we do not hold their personal data, including passwords, so they can be assured that the hackers would not get their hands on that information if they have not interacted with the Hola Chrome extension. And Chrome, why are you going to My Ether wallet using a free VPN service that is a plugin to your browser, and your browser is Google Chrome?
Was that bad? Should I not have done that?
The most hacked, exploitable, vulnerable browser that is in use today. It isn't yet clear how many users were hit, but the situation recalls a similar incident in February when My Ether wallet was affected by a DNS attack that saw at least $365,000 of crypto stolen from users. My Ether wallet is one of the most popular wallet services on the internet. I don't know that I'd really call it a wallet service. It's more like a workaround to wallets. But other options include MyCrypto, a service launched by a former Mew co-founder, and IamToken, which is run by a Chinese-based company that recently raised $10 million from investors. Note, the author owns a small amount of cryptocurrency. Enough to gain an understanding, not enough to change a life. It's a weird note.
I guess that's supposed to be like a disclaimer, and it's like, yeah, good for you, dude. That doesn't...
Is that
like...
I mean, is that like him saying that he's not worth hacking?
I think it's him saying, well, I could be biased. Like, just kind of putting you on notice there. But not really. You shouldn't, like, your small amount of crypto should not make you biased on a story that has nothing to do with your crypto. I don't think. Maybe you're easier to buy than I am, dude.
No one stores... I mean, it's not a wallet. My Ether wallet is not... I mean, they may offer a wallet service, but that's not what people primarily use it for. They use it for accessing other wallets. Like, if you have Parity and it's a million blocks behind, the easiest way to get to your Ethereum is going to be to use My Ether wallet and access the wallet directly using your private keys. So it's sort of a workaround to other wallets' problems, I think would be the best way to say it. But I'm not aware of anyone actually storing Ethereum. Plus, it's a browser, it's a website. Okay. God willing, nobody out there has their cryptocurrency stored on a website. If they are, I hope it's just temporary, and I hope it's an exchange like Yobit or TradeSatoshi.com or the now defunct Nova Exchange. And the reason why you wouldn't want to keep them on there, in addition to the fact that they can be easily hacked because they're always online and you don't really control them, is the fact that they disappear with shocking regularity. And they do usually give you advance warning. Nova Exchange gave users several months of foreknowledge that, hey, we're going away. But it was a great site, and I miss it. And I suspect they'll all... And it's essentially what the Indian cryptocurrency exchanges are doing now, is they're becoming like Trade Satoshi and Yobit and Kraken and all of these others that don't actually deal in fiat, and they're just ways to shapeshift or changely one cryptocurrency into another. But my Ether wallet isn't even that. It's just a website used for directly accessing Ethereum wallets. And as I said, it may or may not actually give you the capacity to hold an Ethereum wallet through the website or its services, but if it does, you would be stupid to use it. Install Parity, install Jax, install Coinami, install an Ethereum wallet to your phone or to your computer, or literally any of dozens of solutions that are easier and faster and better. Or freaking just print out a sheet of paper with your private keys on it and your public keys on it and have a paper wallet. Anything would be safer than storing your Ethereum indefinitely on a website that you access using Google Chrome and a browser plugin to give you a free VPN because you can't be bothered to actually pay for one, and you don't know anything about the VPN service except that it's been hacked for 5 hours at a time at some point in the last 24 hours, and that it has been accused of DDoS attacks performed surreptitiously by users on its network without notifying the users. So it's just bad ideas all around from crypto noobs who should not be doing what they're doing. Which is hardly surprising. I mean, that's the crypto story, isn't it? Crypto noobs do stupid things. Google Chrome, that would be stupid thing number one. Stop using it.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. It's my firm belief that the AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented groups. Support all your favorite organizations, but make sure you give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
You're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
تستمتعون إلى برنامج نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Crypto Hour here on the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM, where we are giving away 10 free Motion coins. All you have to do is install a wallet, and you get your free 10 Motion coins. They're currently valued at about 85 cents each, so we're giving away about $8.50 of free cryptocurrency. All you have to do is give us a call at 603-357-9265 and claim your free cryptocurrencies. No catch, no hook, no trick. Back to the news, because it's not pretty out there. The bloodbath continues. Bitcoin.com brings us a market update. Crypto prices drop a leg down as bulls lose momentum.
It literally looks like a leg, by the way. I'm on CoinMarketCap, and like it's like it goes. It looks like a leg sitting down. It's like, you know, the 7-day graph has a little spike yesterday, and then a slope, and then just a knee bone right there. Just boom, all the way down, and then it levels off at a foot. You know, Bitcoin itself, 64. It's down to 64.11. Yesterday,
it's actually worse than that. The top cryptocurrencies have fallen in value once again, as Bitcoin has tumbled to 63.77, and Bitcoin Cash hovers around 785 per coin.
It's Bitcoin Cash is showing at 700 even right now.
But it's dropped to as low as 696. Well, I've noticed that Bitcoin.com always over-reports the Bitcoin Cash value and always under-reports the Bitcoin value.
I wonder why.
Yeah. I mean, it's a consistent theme with them. Whenever they show the values of Bitcoin, it's always higher elsewhere than they show it, and Bitcoin Cash is always lower elsewhere than they show it. A thick veil of bearish sentiment has once again encapsulated cryptocurrency traders as the bullish price momentum from last week reversed. Cryptocurrency bulls attempted to surpass the rallies that took place on 6/18, and several attempts to overcome resistance have seemingly failed. At $254 billion US dollars, the entire market capitalization of all 1,600 digital currencies has lost around $16 billion since the weekend. At the current vantage point, some traders believe crypto prices could take a major leg down again. Since our last markets update, Bitcoin Core trade volume, I knew I was going to do that at least once. Bitcoin trade volume has decreased a hair from 5.2 billion in trades to 4.18 billion. The top 5 exchanges today swapping the most Bitcoin includes Bitflyer, Bygone, Fcoin, Binance, and Bitfinex. Bitcoin markets are down 6.1%. The Japanese yen is still dominating Bitcoin pairs by 44.7%. Blah, blah, blah. Ugh, so much data that nobody's interested in. Okay, I thought this was going to be more interesting. It's just numbers after numbers after numbers. I can't read this crap over the air. It's horrible.
Hire Aria for your website. She'll get rid of all those pesky facts.
Well, it's not the facts that are the problem. It's just, it's like reading a freaking stock page on the newspaper. I mean, sure, I mean, it's fine if you're looking for a particular stock or something like that, but if you're looking for content, it has to be cut up, sectioned off, and split into words to be made into an article. You can't just write a sentence saying, this is the value of Ethereum, and this is how much it is down from last week, and expect people to read that crap. We're probably the first people who have made it past the 3rd paragraph on that stupid article. Hire me, Bitcoin.com.
If only social stopped crapping all over all of your articles. Maybe.
Well, they would be my articles then, so.
Yeah. You just crap on them in private instead of on the air on your radio show. Anyway.
Well, the Korean government has been criticized for crypto exchange hacks, while Upbit denies a hack rumor. So many hacks, man. This is really going to become a persistent problem. But it's the reason why ordinary users aren't still being hit with ransomware. So I'm kind of torn on it.
Oh, well, I mean, all that means is that they haven't gotten around to the ordinary users.
I mean, the ordinary users. I mean, the ordinary users don't have the money, though. Who are you going to hack? Someone who may or may not be willing to pay a ransom of $5,000 to get their files back, or an exchange from which you can make off with $12.5 million. It's no contest.
Sure, if you have to choose. I'm sure there are many hackers out there who are like, why not both?
Well, because the rate of people paying for ransomware has fallen since so many copycats risen. I mean, initially it was CryptoWall and some other one. And, they actually had a reputation for releasing people's files once the ransoms were paid. So then a bunch of other Me Too's came along, no reference intended, and they made their own ransomware, but they didn't release people's files back once they were paid. They just severed ties with them and never contacted them back. So people were just giving them money and never getting their files back. Well, that started circulating on places like Bleeping Computer, Kaspersky's website, McAfee's website, and it started getting out that, hey, you're not likely to get your files back any longer. So people have been less and less reluctant to pay them, less and less willing to pay them, and more reluctant, until we reach the point where we're at today, where the odds of somebody paying the ransom is 0.001%. And even if they do, the average user does not have $5,000 laying around that they can use to get their family photos back. They'll just let their family photos go. And back then, the price of ransoms were, 1 Bitcoin. And they're still 1 Bitcoin. And the people making the ransomware don't seem to appreciate the appreciation in value of Bitcoin.
Or they're just greedy and they don't understand the depreciation and value of their customers.
Yeah.
Either or.
I mean, now you're hacking grandma's computer, man. She doesn't have $6,000. Even if she did have a relative who knew how to purchase Bitcoin, she doesn't have $6,000 lying around to get those photos back. She will just let them go. And so will most of these users. The only ones who won't are the hospitals and the sheriff's departments and things like that who need their files. But again, the prospects of hacking them it's becoming less and less effective because they have IT people who are hopefully sufficiently trained and knowledgeable that they are regularly backing up the user's files and nipping ransomware in the bud. So the only option left for them then is to hack exchanges and to do 51% attacks. And it's got a much better, it's got fewer wildcards in it for one, but it's also got much higher payoffs. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. If I was a hacker, I would not be worrying about ransomware. I mean, you can buy ransomware easily on Tor for really cheap. For like $140, you can buy ransomware.
But we do not want you to go and do that, please. That is bad.
Well, yeah,
take that money and buy stuff from our sponsors instead.
It's a waste of money. I mean, even if you can figure out how to get it installed onto someone's computer without them knowing who did it, they're never going to pay that ransom. It's just not going to happen anymore. That was 2013 to 2014. We're well beyond that now. In fact, we did have someone hacked with ransomware. I want to say it was in January. And they were considering briefly the possibility of buying some Bitcoin from me and using it to pay the ransom, with significant markup, of course, because if you're not going to pay me to fix this, you're going to at least pay me for my Bitcoin. But in the end, they decided not to. They just had one of the owner's daughters enter in 6 months of data all over again. Which sucks for her, but I mean, what are you going to do? Tom, any thoughts?
Back up your stuff, and none of this is an issue in the first place.
Yes, back up onto a removable drive that you don't leave connected 24/7, and preferably that you don't assign a drive letter to. But yeah, just once a week, even take a flash drive, plug it into your computer, copy your important crap onto it, and then take it out and put it back in your drawer. Bam, done. Never have to worry about ransomware. Well, you may have to reformat your computer and put your stuff back on, but you'll never have to worry about losing anything permanently. Well, this has been the Crypto Hour. When we get back, we'll talk about some government murder, because that's what government does, and some Brexit chaos.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, this is Mark Edge of Free Talk Live. Michael W. Dean's book, User's Manual for the Human Experience, changed my life. In a culture that attempts to turn you into a compliant victim, this book gives you implementable steps on everything from how to be aware of your environment walking down the street to business, to how to handle a toxic person in your life. If you're a human, you need to read this book at least once. Go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, or paperback, or an audiobook of A User's Manual for the Human Experience.
More of the Call to Freedom is coming up next, live after the news. on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, July 10th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.07 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,254 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $21, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,368. Antiwar.com reports after his North Korea and Japan visits, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo made a surprise stop-off in Afghanistan on Monday, offering U.S. support for peace talks between the Ghani government and the Taliban. This and Pompeo's promise that the U.S. was willing to take part is a change in policy. In January, President Trump had ruled out any U.S. involvement in peace talks with the Taliban, saying the U.S. did not want talks and it's going to be a long time before that changed. Pompeo, by contrast, said the talks needed to be Afghan-led and that the U.S. would have an important role, but only to the extent the Afghans took the lead. Ghani has been trying to court talks with the Taliban for a while, including a brief ceasefire. Pompeo went on to insist President Trump's escalation in Afghanistan is working despite the amount of territory held by the government continuing to shrink. He said the U.S. escalation was forcing the Taliban towards negotiation. The Taliban has yet to accept the negotiations. Are you looking for a cryptocurrency that has a focus on users and usability? Then look into Zencash. Zencash is the world's first private, distributed, and reliable platform for communications, transactions, and publishing. Zencash features global governance with inclusive decision-making, reliable funding for continuous improvements, and documentation and wallets in many languages that are available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com. UPI reports California's Klamathon fire has destroyed more than 81 structures, prompting evacuations in the affected area on Monday. CAL FIRE said the fire in Siskiyou County, which began Thursday, had burned 35,250 acres and was 30% contained. One person died in the blaze and 3 more have been injured. A total of 2,716 fire personnel and 199 fire engines were dispatched to combat the blaze. The county fire in Napa and Yolo counties increased in size to 90,288 acres on Monday and was about 73% contained. CAL FIRE said firefighters were working to mop up and strengthen control lines as unburned pockets of fuel continue to burn within the interior of the fire. No deaths or injuries have been reported from that blaze, which began June 29th, but it has destroyed 16 structures. The Georges fire in Inyo County was caused by lightning on Sunday afternoon and had grown to 2,000 acres by Monday. CAL FIRE sent 20 fire engines to combat that blaze, but did not specify how much had been contained. Near Los Angeles, the Valley Fire grew in size to 1,348 acres and was about 13% contained, while the 100-acre Box Fire was about 80% contained. Both blazes took place in San Bernardino County. The Creek Fire in San Bernardino National Forest was about 33 acres in size and 94% contained as of Monday. Further north, the Lions Fire had no growth over the weekend, remained at 4,064 acres in size and about 90% containment in the Sierra National Forest. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports President Donald Trump on Monday announced Brett Kavanaugh as his nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court, picking a conservative federal appeals court judge who survived a previous tough Senate confirmation battle and helped investigate former President Bill Clinton in the 1990s. In picking the 53-year-old Kavanaugh, Trump aimed to entrench conservative control of the court for years to come with his second lifetime appointment to the nation's highest judicial body in his first 18 months as president. Kavanaugh now faces what appears to be another fierce fight for confirmation in the Senate, where Trump's fellow Republicans hold a slim majority. If confirmed, Kavanaugh would replace long-serving conservative Justice Anthony Kennedy, who announced his retirement on June 27th at the age of 81. Trump told an applauding audience in the East Room of the White House, "Throughout legal circles, he's considered a judge's judge, a true thought leader among his peers." Kavanaugh has amassed a solidly conservative judicial record since 2006 on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, the same court where 3 current justices, including Chief Justice John Roberts, previously served. Kavanaugh served as a senior White House official under former President George W. Bush before being nominated to the appeals court in 2003. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
We turn to Washington, D.C., where America's roommates are holding a rally as part of their new One Vote Doesn't Matter political action campaign. The rally, which drew thousands of roommates, ranging from the guy who keeps all of his groceries in his room to the guy whose name the lease is under, is just a part of a surging grassroots movement to spread the message that one person's vote can't make a difference if you really, really think about it.
You know, this is like the most important election of our lifetime. We just want to get the word out that it's already been decided in some smoke-filled boardroom. You know, I pretty much minored in poli-sci, so I think I get this stuff.
Joining us now is Jason Copeland at a rally in the nation's capital. Jason, how would you describe the energy there?
Yeah, hi, Andrea. I'd say it's a definite chill vibe. I just saw the roommate whose only friend seems to be his younger brother and the guy who just has an air mattress in his room passing out flyers together. Now, the roommates do make some interesting points. The Electoral College it is weird.
This is the Onion News Network.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. आप सुन रहे हैं स्वतंत्रता की पुकार सिर्फ और सिर्फ LRN.FM पे।
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM, where we are broadcasting live from the Zencash studio. Still trying to give away the 10 free motion coins, so give us a call at 603-357-9265. And interesting news that I think Tom cares more about than I do, but former President Trump campaign chief Paul Manafort is being moved from a rural Virginia jail to one closer to Washington. Apparently Manafort, whose bail was revoked by a federal judge in Washington amid allegations of witness tampering, complained that restrictions at the Northern Neck Regional Jail in Warsaw and its distance from the courthouse made it hard for him to prepare for trial. On Tuesday, a different federal judge ordered him transferred to a detention center in Alexandria, Virginia, to ensure that defendant has access to his counsel and can adequately prepare his defense. Manafort is awaiting separate trials in two jurisdictions, Washington and Alexandria, on a raft of fraud, money laundering, and other charges stemming from his lucrative lobbying in Ukraine. He has not pled guilty to any charges, which were brought by Special Counsel Robert Mueller, who is investigating Russian interference in the 2016 election and possible collusion by the Trump campaign. Manafort was put... Go ahead.
Yeah, so to contextualize this for people, Manafort's being tried in the Eastern District of Virginia. The court closest to D.C. would be the one in Alexandria. The prison he was being kept at in Warsaw is on, they call it the Northern Neck because it's on the peninsula to the north of Richmond. If you actually just look at a really high-end map, it doesn't look like it's all that far from Washington, D.C. The problem is, being on a peninsula, to get there, you have to cross the Potomac River. So instead of being, about an hour, if it was a straight drive, it's about a 2-hour drive. But here's the thing that you may get to this in the article, so sorry if I'm cutting you off here. But at the same time that they're complaining that his defense counsel are complaining that he's too far away from them to adequately prepare for his trial defense, they're also trying to get the case moved from Alexandria to Roanoke. Roanoke, Virginia is closer to me than it is to Washington, D.C. And not by a little bit, by a lot. Like, I could take a day trip up to Roanoke and hang out.
Wouldn't the goal of moving it to Roanoke be to move it to a rural area that's more likely to be pro-Trump and pro-Manafort?
Yeah. You hit it at the non-pretextual reason. They're saying, like in their court filings, they say it's because people in Northern Virginia and in the D.C. area have gotten so much news about the case that there's no way he can get a fair trial. The reality is they want to move it down to Southwest Virginia instead of Northern Virginia because Southwest Virginia is as red as the day is long. Now, Roanoke is a little bastion with some blue in there, but the actual jury pool out of Roanoke County would be chock full of Trumpkins, and that's what they're going for. But so they're on the one hand saying 2 hours is too long to drive to adequately prepare for trial. On the other hand, they're saying, hey, Judge, we want to have this trial about 4.5 hours down the road in Roanoke instead of here in the actual D.C. area where the crime actually happened and where a constitutional venue for the trial would actually take place.
Now, I've never actually had to be before a jury. Knock on wood. But isn't moving trials around to try to get a more favorable jury pretty standard for?
Nope. In fact, it is.
Why do I think it is?
Television.
Well, isn't there wasn't there something that
cases,
happened recently with Colorado and its capital, whose name I can't remember right now, where they did exactly this thing? The state. The state moved the trial to Denver in order to get... Maybe, I don't know.
The state...
Completely disregard everything I just said because I cannot think of any of the names or references or places or people.
That's okay. There is actually a provision of the federal Constitution. This isn't the case in all state courts, but there's a provision in the federal Constitution that the... constitutionally correct venue for a crime at the federal level is the district in which the crime actually occurred.
Right, and this is why the federal government gets involved in cases that involve interstate criminality, correct? Because it involves multiple districts across multiple states.
It's actually a protection for the defendants so that the federal government can't arrest them for something in one state and then try them in another and say, well, the crime was committed everywhere. Like that. So it's a defendant's protection. Only the defendant can waive it. On the other hand, the way the federal rules of criminal procedure work, if the defendant wants to move the trial somewhere else, they got to have a good reason. And like they have to argue that the local jury pool is somehow more tainted than another jury pool would be, and in this case, I don't see that happening. I just think it's funny that they're complaining about the distance to get from the Washington area to the prison in Northern Neck, while at the same time arguing motions that say they want to have the trial twice as far away from where his lawyers actually live and practice.
Yeah. Well, Manafort was put on house arrest after his indictment, but last month prosecutors alleged that he and a Russian associate, Konstantin Klemennik, used encrypted messages to reach out to the witnesses in one of the cases. I cannot turn a blind eye to this, Judge Amy Berman Jackson told him before revoking his bail. I really need to know the details about that.
You could, Judge.
Did the witness come forward, or does the state have the capability to spy upon certain encrypted messages services?
Both.
Well, I mean, not both, because I mean there are things like Telegram and Signal and what is the other one? Wire that are supposed to be end-to-end decrypted. So, if you want to carry on with the article, I'm going to see if I can find the details on that.
See, I'm not sure if I have the.
Well, just ramble on about Manafort. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah. So, this is kind of typical maneuvering by a wealthy defendant who's got nothing better to do than throw money at lawyers. Honestly, I think he might be. He would probably actually be just as well off having a trial in the D.C. area because he's got D.C. area attorneys. And he may think that he's going to get a more favorable jury coming down somewhere like Roanoke, but the feeling of foreign attorneys kind of invading your space is not something that people are particularly amenable to.
Well, I found the details, and
all right.
Okay, so he used WhatsApp, which I don't consider to be particularly secure.
He deserves whatever he gets.
Oh, and as far as all of his messages were backed up to his iCloud account, to which...
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, that was it.
To which the federal government had access because of warrants.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, what an idiot. But the article here references Telegram as well, which we use the crap out of here in Keene, New Hampshire. So while we're on break, I'm going to read this and see how Telegram enters into the picture, and we're going to continue discussing the stupid things that Paul Manafort has done.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know you can listen to LRN.FM via our free-to-air satellite channels? We have channels over nearly all of North America and much of Africa. All you need is an affordable receiver and a dish as small as 30 inches. There are no monthly fees. Learn more at sat.lrn.fm. Plus, if you are a broadcaster or want to be one, this is a good delivery method for our content. See our coverage maps and get details at sat.lrn.fm. That's sat.lrn.fm. sat.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
I had a turning point in my life that happened right here on the air on Free Talk Live. A veteran, a guy who had served like 20 years in the military in both the Navy and the Army, called in and he asked me to rebut the statement. The military are a bunch of paid killers working for liars and thieves in Washington, D.C. Now, when you're stuck here on the air, you're on live radio. There's nowhere to go. You can't excuse yourself to go to the bathroom. You can't change the subject. You're a talk show host who has built their reputation on honesty and logic. What are you going to do when somebody says that to you? Well, when you don't have an answer to something, you're going to have to look really hard at the other side's opinion. And that's what I was left doing.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Unasikiliza wito wa uhuru katika LRN.FM.
All right, welcome back to the Call to Freedom here on LRN.FM. I am Arya Demesso, joined via remote by our legal mind, Tom Gray. And we're going to move on briefly to something a tad more depressing so that we can liven things up a bit when we get to the Cannabis Hour and talk about something silly. South Sudan troops, brought to us by Al Jazeera, have murdered 230 civilians. 120 women and girls have been raped by South Sudan government troops and allied forces. Oh, God. The United Nations has accused South Sudan's government forces and allied troops of killing dozens of civilians, including children and the elderly, in deliberate and ruthless attacks this year that may amount to war crimes. Yeah, well, nothing we do apparently amounts to war crimes. The United Nations Human Rights Office and the UN mission in South Sudan jointly published a report on Tuesday documenting at least 232 civilian deaths and many more injuries between April the 16th and April the 24th in attacks by government-backed troops as well as armed youth on 40 villages in the opposition-held areas of Mayandet and Lear. The perpetrators of these revolting acts against defenseless civilians, including those bearing command responsibility, must not be allowed to get away with it. Zaid Ra'ad al-Hussein, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, said in a statement calling on the government to halt all hostilities against civilians. In its report, the UN Human Rights Office identified 3 individuals who may bear the greatest responsibility for the recent violations. The Council of Human Rights said civilians were targeted, with the elderly, people with disabilities, and very young children killed in horrific acts of violence, some hung from trees, and others burned alive in their homes. Zaid called on the perpetrators of these horrific crimes to be held accountable and demanded justice for the victims. You know, to circle back to a topic I like discussing, how would he propose justice to these people who were burned alive in their homes? And
burn somebody back, I guess.
And I would like a sincere answer to this question. So if you have one, give us a call at 603-357-9265. How do you give justice to someone who was burned alive in their home, or to the family of someone whose relative was burned alive in their home? How do you deliver justice to them? There must be... here, he gives us the answer, apparently, in the very next sentence. There must be consequences for the men who reportedly gang-raped a 6-year-old child, who slit the throats of elderly villagers, who hanged women for resisting looting, and shot fleeing civilians in the swamps where they hid. And horrific though those things are, no amount of consequences will ever bring anything that even remotely resembles justice to the victims or their families. The word you're looking for there is vengeance and retribution, not justice. At least 120 women and girls were raped or gang raped, with one woman still bleeding from childbirth when she was assaulted.
Oh my gosh.
At least 132 other women and girls were also abducted. And this is by these are not by rebels. These are not by anarchists. This is not Somalia. This is the South Sudan government.
And affiliated forces, which is just as bad.
The rebels are the ones resisting this crap and saying we will not tolerate it. South Sudan rebels on Monday, actually that's not apparently correct, evidently. The rebels are just as guilty. The UN report said opposition forces had also carried out armed attacks that caused civilian casualties. South Sudan rebels, I mean, you know, you hear stories like this and the human mind automatically wants to separate it into good guys and bad guys. And the bad guys are the ones, you know, raping and killing women and children and shooting people as they hide in swamps. But it's not that. It's gray and gray. We got evil on this side and we got the evil rebels on the other side. There are no good guys in this story. South Sudan rebels on Monday rejected a peace plan to reinstate their leader Riek Machar as vice president under a deal reached at talks in Uganda. They said it failed to dilute the strong power base of the country's president. South Sudan is reeling from the effects of a 4.5-year civil war, which has killed tens of thousands, pushed millions to the brink of famine, and created Africa's largest refugee crisis since the 1994 Rwandan genocide. A permanent ceasefire was agreed upon by the two warring sides, led by President Salva Kiir and Riek Machar last month, raising hopes of peace to end the country's devastating war that dates back to December 2013. Isn't that the same year that we were going to invade Libya, but we didn't? I mean, isn't that the exact same month that we were going to put boots on the ground in Libya?
I don't recall. They all start to run together.
They do. South Sudan's civil war broke out in December 2013 when Kiir accused his then-deputy Machar of plotting a coup, dashing the optimism that accompanied independence from Sudan just 2 years earlier. Multiple attempts at peace deals have failed in the past, leaving long-suffering civilians wondering whether this latest attempt at peace would fall apart as well. You know, I'm reminded of the MASH episode, and I know that's a strange reference, but I like the show MASH. It's generally pretty good. Where, you know, Hawkeye goes to the peace talks and he snaps on all of them. You people do your freaking jobs. Because people are dying out here. People are being murdered out here. People are being brutalized out here. And that's what we have exactly going on here. And I don't even know what these people are fighting about, but it's horrible. And it seems totally unnecessary because they could have brokered a peace. But the rebels turned it down. One woman still bleeding from childbirth when she was raped. What is going on here? What is broken down in the human psyche that allows people to do that to one another?
It's always there. Sometimes just beneath the surface, and all it takes is a little bit of destabilization to bring it to the forefront. And that's why...
Similar to the Sanford prison experiment, I would guess.
And that's why I'm so vehemently opposed to our exacerbating or creating these situations ourselves, even when we claim it's for humanitarian reasons. Because these are always the results.
That's horrible. We need to move on to something less tragic. How about Brexit? When we get back, we'll talk about craziness in Brexit and Theresa May and everybody losing their minds a little bit over the Atlantic Ocean.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
You are listening to the Call to Freedom live on LRN.FM. تستمعون إلى نداء للحرية مباشرة على LRN.FM.
That's right, the spirit of radio is alive and well here on the Liberty Radio Network. Welcome back to the Call to Freedom on LRN.FM. Your co-hosts, or at this point we've basically taken over the show, Tom Gray and Arya DeMezzo.
Yeah, Will is going to have to fight me to get this chair back.
He can stand for all we care.
Actually, he'd probably prefer the other chair because then he doesn't have to worry about the mixer board or any of the other crap.
Yeah, don't give him the opportunity to make you do all the work, because you know he'll take it. So, there's some nonsense going on over in the good old United Kingdom over Brexit. Brexit, for those of you who may have forgotten the term since it's been out of the American news for a little while, was the United Kingdom's referendum vote in which people voted to leave the United Kingdom. So,
the European
recent
Union.
days, the European Union. What did I say?
The United Kingdom. Scotland
yeah,
is voting
no.
to leave the United Kingdom, or at least they've tried repeatedly.
Yeah, and they're always like, but then what would we do?
The same thing the UK is doing. Be free and independent. It's not that hard.
Apparently it is, though. From NBC
Well, when you're
News,
used to having the foot of the British on your neck for 500 years, yeah, I imagine independence would seem kind of terrorizing.
I'm saying it apparently seems terrorizing for the British government itself. And that brings us to our story from NBC News. Brexit chaos. What happens next for British PM Theresa May? Britain is deadlocked in Brexit Plan A and has no Plan B. British Prime Minister Theresa May was trying to save her government Tuesday after it was damaged by a series of resignations over the nation's Brexit crisis. She held a meeting of her new cabinet, determined to ride out threats of a leadership challenge from within her ruling Conservative Party. The turmoil came on top of preparations for this week's controversial visit by President Donald Trump and a thorny NATO summit meeting. Speaking of Trump's visit, Arya, did you happen to see the picture of the giant balloon that's going to be flying over London as Trump visits?
I did.
Yeah, the boss baby Trump. It's great. My buddy Will, not our Will, but a different Will, took a picture of that and photoshopped it on the cover of that Pink Floyd album that has the blimp flying over London. It's great.
Don't you like Pink Floyd though? Their music transcends petty politics, and that's what this is. I mean, Trump
really.
sucks. yes, it is. It's petty. Trump sucks, but he's done nothing to warrant the animosity directed at him. He's done. Let me rephrase it. He's done nothing exceptional as far as elected figureheads go to warrant the animosity directed at him.
Sure, but think about how vicious the British are toward their own everyday elected officials. I mean, you've got 40 years now of
Reginald,
Monty Python.
I disagree.
Yeah, exactly. So, at the heart of the problem is progress, or lack of it, toward Britain's departure from the European Union, which former Secretary of State...
I say, Jeremy, isn't that Reginald B. Stiffworth, a young upstart chap who's been touting the merits of a united European Commonwealth?
Why, yes, I dare say that's the fellow.
Oh, let's get him. Oh, Reginald! I disagree!
Doesn't get more British than that.
That's pretty much exactly what's going on here. At the heart of the problem is progress, or lack of it, toward Britain's departure from the European Union, which former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright on Sunday described as, quote, an exercise in economic masochism that Britons will long regret. What just happened? Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson, who is formerly mayor of London, I believe.
But he looks like Trump. Have you noticed that?
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I mean, not
bit.
in the face or anything, just the general...
He's a little bit more
everything about
honest.
him.
He's a little bit more honest about his hair loss than Trump is. And apparently he was born in New York and became the mayor of London. Okay, anyway. Former Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson and Brexit Secretary David Davis quit within hours of each other, along with a handful of junior ministers and aides. The resignations blew apart May's claim to have finally secured backing for her vision of Britain's future relationship with the EU, a plan that was only agreed to on Friday.
Now, wasn't Boris Johnson one of the main UKIP people? Wasn't he at the forefront of the "we need to Brexit"?
He was a pro-Brexit person. He's not UKIP.
Okay.
UKIP was kind of a single issue, single man party with Nigel Farage.
That was the name I was thinking of. Nigel Farage.
Farage. Their departure also exposed the scale of Britain's disarray. With only 262 days left before it leaves the trading bloc.
Holy crap.
Trading bloc being the EU.
They have accomplished nothing then.
And more than 2 years since the progress began, the UK government still hasn't agreed what it wants Brexit to look like, never mind negotiate with the EU to make it happen.
I love it. It's just going to end after 262 days, and they were like, oh, this is a terrible idea. We need to rejoin the European Union. And that is how Brexit will be destroyed.
Yep. I mean, they've been claiming that the vote was a farce because only old people voted and stuff like that.
Well, that is the fault of the young people who don't understand that when you have a national referendum like that, other people are going to vote. It's called defensive voting. And if you go, oh, I'm protesting the vote as a whole and staying home, then you're voting indifference. You're voting it doesn't matter. You're voting I will go with either result. A lack of a vote is still a vote in a world controlled by votes.
So why did they quit? Johnson, a loud pro-Brexit voice, was unhappy with May's Brexit plan to keep the UK and the EU in a free trade zone for goods and to commit Britain to maintaining the same rules as the bloc for goods and agricultural products. Quote, Brexit should be about opportunity and hope, he said in a scathing resignation letter that was echoed in headlines in a number of Britain's national newspapers. That dream is dying, suffocated by needless self-doubt. Britain is, quote,
he's right. As I reminded people shortly after the Brexit vote, and they were like, oh, Britain's never going to survive this, or the United Kingdom is never going to survive this, it's going to collapse. Like, your country your country stood alone against the full might of Nazi Germany and Nazi Europe, alone, getting bombed night after night after night. London was burned to the ground. Not entirely, but a number of cities were bombed entirely to the ground. And the United Kingdom just kept coming. And you think a little bit of hardship, a little bit of economic hardship is going to finally destroy the legacy of this ancient European country. Where is the self-doubt coming from?
Probably from Boris Johnson's receding hairline. So, when we get back, we'll get more from Boris Johnson and from Brexit Secretary David Davis on why they quit and what is the future of Brexit here on the Call to Freedom on the Liberty Radio Network.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 Liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Angel Clark, and you're listening to The Call to Freedom on LRN.FM.
When you're in love with a beautiful Brexit, it's hard. And when you're not in love with it, it gets really hard.
Yeah,
Welcome back to
Britain is truly headed for the status of colony.
Welcome back to this last segment of the Call to Freedom on the Liberty Radio Network for your Tuesday. And we're reading right now, discussing what's going on in Britain. You've had Boris Johnson and David Davis resigning from Theresa May's cabinet over Brexit. So what is Theresa May proposing? May has yet to publish her blueprint in full, but some details have leaked since they were circulated to ministers at Friday's 12-hour cabinet meeting. Geez, I'd resign too if you made me sit through a 12-hour meeting with Theresa May at the Prime Minister's Chequers country residence. She gave a broad outline as she addressed lawmakers Monday, selling it as a pro-business plan that would protect ties with the world's biggest trading bloc. So what it seems to be basically is that Johnson and Davis believe that Britain needs to go its own way, which is basically what the will of the voters seems to have been, and May is trying to maintain as much of the status quo as she can by making a United Kingdom that resembles as much as possible what it does as it's part of the EU. So May is trying to maintain the status quo, and Johnson and Davis, I think correctly, seem to believe that the voters wanted something entirely different. Bottom line, Brexit is supposed to happen in 262 days, and they have no idea how it's going to happen. But because this is the last hour of the Call to Freedom, it's time for cannabis news. And speaking of running afoul of the express will of the voters, we have a story out of Oklahoma.
I want you
Just
all to
broke.
take a smell so you know
There we go.
it's smoking marijuana near you.
They won't be smoking it in Oklahoma, though. Oh, no.
So what has happened in Oklahoma? Because I remember when we discussed that, we decided that, it had the most relaxed and permissive marijuana laws in the country.
They passed the most relaxed and most permissive marijuana referendum in the country.
That's
And
like
then they-
Brexit. Like
Mhm.
Brexit passed as a referendum.
And then the bureaucrats came in. From High Times, published 1 hour ago, Oklahoma Board of Health bans sale of smokable medical marijuana. So far, the ban on smokable forms of cannabis only applies to dispensary product. You can still grow and smoke at your own home. You just can't buy it. Supporters of Oklahoma's new medical marijuana program are blasting the State Board of Health's decision today to ban the sale of smokable cannabis. The board's decision comes just 1 day after a group representing doctors and pharmacists opposed to medical marijuana legalization held a press conference demanding a ban on all smokable forms of cannabis, among other proposals. In other words, the losers came out and started yelling, and now they won.
Well, I get I get the doctors being against smokable marijuana. Us inhaling smoke directly is terrible for you. Marijuana is even worse than tobacco as far as damage to your lungs. It's less likely to cause lung cancer, but it's going to destroy your lungs quicker if you smoked it as regularly as people do cigarettes, and some people do. But the pharmaceutical companies, they can screw right off.
Exactly. I mean, that's what this is. So controversy has erupted over the Oklahoma State Board of Health's decision to add a ban on smokable medical cannabis to the draft rules for the state's new program. Critics of the decision say it violates the will of voters who approved State Question 788 with a 56% majority. But those who called for the ban say Oklahoma voters didn't fully understand the implications of SQ 788, State Question 788. The Oklahoma State Medical Association...
But I need to face desk over that, because isn't that what they always say?
Don't do it too hard.
The voters didn't understand what they were looking at. The ballots were confusing.
Oh gosh. The Oklahoma State Medical Association led the call for a ban on smokable forms of marijuana. Quote, the majority of Oklahomans do not want dispensaries on every corner or strip mall.
Really? It sounds like 56% of them do.
Or at least don't care.
And I'm pretty sure we can substantiate that with these little sheets of paper they have that somebody counted that said, yes, we are okay with this.
Ultimately, the board overseeing the state health department accepted 2 of the OSMA's 3 proposals. They're banning the sale of smokable flowers and leaves to cannabis patients. In other words, they're banning the sale of medicine to sick people after the voters said, let the sick people have medicine. The board also added a rule requiring all dispensaries to hire a pharmacist. That's even worse. That's even worse. Yeah. Those of you growing plants, nope, you must hire a doctor on staff. And let me tell you, I know that pharmacists make bank because my brother-in-law is one.
So the State Health Department of Colorado, or Oklahoma, is essentially just a pharmacist union for all intents and purposes.
That's what state medical boards tend to be. I mean, the real mystery here
that's
is why
the exact
did they
functionality of a union.
And this is why... Now, this is more than just a union, though. This is the State Board of Health. This is a government agency. And this is why, when you want something simple done, you don't leave any loopholes for the bureaucrats to stick their fat noses in. Because they always will, and it'll always be in the favor of the moneyed interest.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
So
why would they need a pharmacist there?
They're calling it emergency rules. for the program's implementation.
Oh, yeah. It's an emergency because they might be out of jobs.
They did so in the face of warnings from counsel that the rules could violate State Question 788, and that leaves the rules open to legal challenges. And legal challenges are exactly what the ACLU of Oklahoma has vowed to bring against the ban. Ryan Kiesel, executive director of the ACLU of Oklahoma, tweeted that the ban, quote, just guaranteed litigation. Go get 'em, Ryan.
Yeah, good luck.
New Health.
Take on the pharmaceutical union.
New Health Solutions, the trade organization for Oklahoma's cannabis industry, also blasted the board's decision. Quote, the Oklahoma State Board of Health today took steps to gut Oklahoma's fledgling medical cannabis program. Patients can still grow their own, but if you're not in a situation where you can grow your own cannabis, because
like if you have cancer.
Exactly. Like if you're chronically ill such that you are in need of medical cannabis, well, you are SOL. You're going to have to buy the expensive stuff that the pharmaceutical companies want to sell you.
You could probably buy dabs.
I remember writing about this in college.
Really?
The first college paper I ever wrote was actually about marijuana legalization. This is back in 2003, when it was still kind of a fringe issue. And I read about what the medical industry was pushing as the synthetic alternative to cannabis, Marinol. And all the science around it basically said that Marinol was intentionally made expensive to produce. It was like milking a mouse, the process of creating Marinol versus the process of growing regular cannabis.
Interesting. Cannabis is relatively easy to grow. So anything that has to be extracted from or created synthetically is just about by default going to be more expensive.
Yeah. But the people this hurts the worst, though, as always, are the people who are the sickest, the people who need the medicine the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those are the people who have the most difficulty growing their own supplies.
Yeah.
So,
people who are vomiting and their body is on fire from, chemotherapy are not going to be able to grow their own pot. It's disgusting that the Colorado State Board of Health would do this.
Yep. I knew Oklahoma couldn't get something right for that long. All right, well, tomorrow, I know Aria will be back with you. Will Chris be in with us tomorrow, or is it you and me again?
It's you and me again. Chris is in Thursday.
Okay. Well, then we will see you tomorrow on the Call to Freedom on Liberty Radio Network. This is Tom Gray for Aria DeMezzo signing off. Stay tuned for Free Talk Live.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com